uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Gentlemen, let's talk about tomorrow's game. We got the playoff implications. The Tennessee Titans are in Jacksonville. And ladies and gentlemen, can you believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars are a 6.5-point favorite in this game? I mean, we understand why. They're playing their fifth-string quarterback who was bagging groceries a couple of weeks ago. Yeah! And the total is 40 points. Andrew.
What's he on the Lions practice squad?
What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I definitely think that the Jaguars are the overwhelming favorite just because of what you mentioned there, the quarterback situation. You got a guy that was literally on the practice squad for the Lions a couple weeks ago, now starting in the most important game of the Titans season. And that's not who you want behind center, obviously, but they got no other choice. Jacksonville's been really they've been wild the last couple of weeks here. They've been really taking a different image to the team overall. And as a Giant fan, I'm just glad we paid them early this season, not later in the season. So I got Jacksonville to win this, cover the spread. And I do think it's going to be a pretty decent scoring game for them as well, because I think, to be honest, the Titans are just going to be just trampled over.
Cool. Peter?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Trevor Lawrence threw for 4 touchdowns earlier on in the season. I expect the same here with this Titans defense. It's very inconsistent. Titans team overall is inconsistent, and they've definitely been hurt by injuries. How about this story, guys? In 2022, the Jacksonville Jaguars go from the worst team, one of the worst teams in the league, to a playoff team. I'm betting Jacksonville. Playoffs! I'm betting on Jacksonville to win outright here over the Tennessee Titans.
It's almost like Urban Meyer was a bad coach.
Oh, you think?
Oh, no, it's almost like that.
You think?
And I'll tell you what I like.
Urban Meyer. Here's what Urban Meyer stands for. There you go. Urban Meyer.
No. Lap dance music, maybe.
Wait, did you say lap dance music?
Peter wants some Daphne on him. Daphne to the stage, please. Daphne to the stage.
Anyway, I'm getting ready to mute both their microphones.
This guy sucks.
Tennessee's at Jacksonville. Jacksonville 6.5-point favorites in this game. Now listen. I can't even finish my thought. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 30-second commercial break. I got to go piss myself.
Oh, my God. This commercial break is brought to you by Depends. When you have to piss yourself, Depends is the one to go for.
I hate you both. But people usually ask, Harry, boxers or briefs? And I always say, depends.
Oh.
This guy sucks.
Anyway, this is what I like. Tennessee's at Jacksonville. It's a 6.5-point favorite. Look, guys, Tennessee's playing. They're not really playing the greatest football, but these two teams generally play very, very tight. I do like the 40 points in this game. I think there's a good position playing under. I think Jacksonville is this year's Cincinnati Bengals. How about that? Okay,
Whoa.
worst to first.
Wow.
Okay, do I think they're going to the Super Bowl? Who knows? I
Ugh.
think they win the game, but Tennessee covers the 6.5.
I think for me, it's just it's a blessing for me to, have those type of memories and experiences. I've been very blessed to be a part of great teams that got to this point and then had a lot of big wins. And it's who everyone wants to play for. They want to play in the playoffs. I'm sure you guys we feel it too. So, you get more texts this week. You get more people wanting to come to the game. You get more people paying attention. So, you want to come through.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition, your pregame edition, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Cowboys. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this edition of your Wild Card Monday night? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll be taking your phone calls, getting you ready for Bucs versus the supposed America's team.
That's good enough to suck right there.
The Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott will get Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. And as always, we'll be taking your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And again, the new number, 727-409-7528. It's 727-409-7528. So without further ado, I want to get this guy on because I know he's excited about it. Everybody is excited about it. You can feel the electricity in the air. We'll see what this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team can do. Oh, yeah, by the way, they got back Ryan Jensen today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get my co-host on, Mr. Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Here we go. All right, there we go. Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Welcome to the evolution as we get everybody ready for Bucs fans out there. Bucs versus the Cowboys. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, man, it's Monday. Can you believe it? It's Monday, and the Bucs are in the playoffs.
Yes, they're in the playoffs, and it seemed like the longest weekend of all time. But I got to tell you, and let's start out there with Wild Card Weekend. I mean, probably the best football you've ever seen besides that pick on Saturday night. I mean, go ahead and expound on that just a little bit, Harry the Greek. How did you do this weekend?
Oh, well, I would have had a really nice weekend. It wasn't horrible. My second best pick got there, the Giants on the money line over the Minnesota Vikings. But really? God, I'm telling you, man, that 88% rule. Whew. Even sometimes I have to pick against it. You're up 28-7 going into the half. Thank you, LA Chargers. Thank you very much.
Well, I actually want to rub the salt in the wound a little bit more here. It was actually 27-0 in the third largest comeback in NFL history. The Jacksonville Jaguars, after Trevor Lawrence throws 4 interceptions in the first half. I'm sorry. They come back and beat the Chargers 31-30, and somehow, some way, their coach is still employed. I don't understand it. You go to Saturday night's game, or that was Saturday night's game. You go to Sunday. You have, of course, the Dolphins and the Bills. You said it best here, and we'll get back to the Bucs in a moment. That was a closer contest than I originally thought. Hats off to the Dolphins and Skylar Thompson, who's a third-string quarterback. They make it a contest, 34-31. How surprised were you by that result?
I don't know. You remember what the Greeks said about divisional games, correct? Or let's just go back and talk about it.
Yes.
It was just like Seattle. Seattle would have been, that game would have been a lot closer had they not turned that ball over when they were driving down to take the lead in the game, and then the game reversed around. Okay, let's just talk about the Miami game. Miami, hey, I don't care who was playing quarterback. It's a divisional game. You don't give up that kind of points. They
It
could have
is.
won that game.
Yes.
I mean, but let's talk about something a little bit more positive. How about the New York Giants beating?
Amazing. Good for them. Good for the Giants. We talked about it. A 13-win team like the Minnesota Vikings were a fraud. Not necessarily their
worst 13-win team of all time.
Yeah.
Next to the 2002 Chicago Bears.
Wow.
That's how bad that was. And if everybody can remember that 13-3 team. No, yes or no? Do you remember that or not?
I do remember it. Was it 2002 or was it 2005?
No, it was earlier than that. The team that went to the Super Bowl was a real team. That was a really good team. I'm talking about the team that Jim Miller was quarterback on.
That was a 13-3 team.
That was the year that they came back and Mike Brown made interceptions in back-to-back games to win the football game. I believe they were both in overtime. It was the first time it was ever done. I think it was done against the 49ers and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
The defenses were really good with Keith Traylor and that other big guy. I forgot his name, but they had like 800 pounds of beef in the middle. But that was a very fraudulent team. I mean, they won the game with smoke and mirrors. It was just a very lucky. And that was the same thing. The difference between that Bears team and this Minnesota Viking team, at least that Chicago team had a defense.
Well, absolutely. And their defense did not show up yesterday. And of course, the Giants win 31-24, 11-0 in close ball games this year with the Vikings, but they're not able to overcome it. Somebody has to explain that play call to me. You got 4th and 8, and you throw the ball 3 yards for TJ Hawkinson. I get it. You want to get it to him, but Kirk Cousins has to do better than that. Offensive play calling has to do better than that. But once again, congratulations to Daniel.
Do you know what he did?
Absolutely played out of his mind yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Over 300 rushing yards, rushed the ball, threw the ball.
Minnesota's defense can make a lot of quarterbacks look like this.
Agree.
But going back to what you were saying about that one play on 4th down and to throw the ball 3 yards before the first down markers, after the play was over, he was pulling a very, very familiar face. Do you remember this, Pete? When the play was over? Was it 4th down?
Yeah. Oh, that was Tom Brady on that Thursday night football.
I had to say that against who?
Chicago Bears.
Oh yeah. But hang on, you remember this, Pete? Ready? 4th down, right?
Fourth? Was it 4th?
Right.
Yeah, it was a 4th. And
you already knew you screwed up,
right?
So you're going, it's 4th, right? Let me get the 5th down, guys.
Yes. And then of course the close contest last night, which the Ravens nearly tied it up at the end of the game. They lose to the, of course, Cincinnati Bengals 24-17. But let's talk about this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team here with Ryan Jensen. I mean, how much of a win is that to get him back? They activated him off the IR today. I think this has been the plan from the very get-go. It looks like he's going to start at center tonight. Robert Hensey is going to be at the left guard situation. Like Tom Brady said earlier on in the week on the Let's Go podcast, they are probably more healthy than they've been healthy all year long. So Ryan Jensen back in the fold.
Yeah, and just like I was talking about earlier today, the issues, are along the offensive line the entire season. Okay, Ali Marpet's retirement, Ryan Jensen's knee injury, the loss of Alex Kappa, in free agency, Tristan Wirfs, his injuries, and Donovan Smith's precipitous decline the entire year. It's been horrible. Those were really evident of the season. They impacted almost every aspect of this entire offense. Okay, and the Bucs offense this season has not even looked even close, much like what we saw in the first 2 years, in Tom Brady era. In 2020 and 21, Tampa checked in 7th and 2nd in total yards and in 3rd and 2nd in total points. So everything that you've seen this entire year and the biggest reason why this team finished under 500 but yet are in the playoffs, hosting a home game.
Playoffs!
That's right, in the playoffs, it's because of this offensive line. So the question begs to say, Pete, is this offensive line going to be not only healthy enough, but cohesive enough to be able to stop that vaunted passing attack that Dallas possesses, but I will talk about that here shortly for you.
Well, I tell you right now, I want to give you a little bit more insight on Jensen here. According to Carmen Vitale of Fox Sports, who covers the NFC North, big-time Chicago Bear fan, by the way, does a great job. Used to work with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. She says not only was Jensen activated today off the IR, but Jensen partially tore multiple ligaments in his knee, including his ACL at the start of training camp.
And he's back.
And he's back. That's an amazing recovery. And for the Bucs to be patient about this, because this offensive line, look, I'll tell you what, let's get out to this really quick because I want to show you something here. And this is the game against the Carolina Panthers. And I just want to freeze it here for a moment. Now, look. Now, you've kind of talked about this, and we can go full screen on this right here. You could see the wall right there. You could see how much time he has to throw the ball. Now, look what happens when you have at least 3 to 5 seconds to throw the ball against Carolina. And I get it.
You don't even need that much. You right. Need up to 3 seconds.
Now, look. There you go. Wide open.
Look at that
right
dime.
There. Perfect. Okay, now look at this right here. Once again, you look at the line. You, again, Leverett at left guard. You're going to have Jensen back. This is a clean pocket. This is what we've kind of talked about, and you've talked about all year long, and I've kind of scoffed at you about it.
Go back to that. Can you bring that back up real quick?
I can go
what
back.
I want you to do is, I want you to pay attention when he goes to release the ball. I want you to find the the middle of the screen, and that's the safety. This is where the blow-in coverage came. Look, I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody's parade, but this right there, what you're looking at, you see the guy up underneath. He's trying to cover the underneath route, but he knows he's not going to go with the ball. He never had any safety help over the top.
Right.
And Mike Evans is going to beat that guy that was bagging groceries 3 weeks prior. Okay. That's part of the reason why they were having that type of success.
Right.
But let me tell you something. Go back to the original part of that play and don't let it go.
Okay.
Okay. If you get this type of protection, okay, against the Dallas Cowboys defensive line, I promise you they will have that type of success. But once that defense starts to get up through the middle, that's when Brady starts to have his problems. But if you protect him, you will have those type of plays all night long. Show that again, Pete.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Getting you ready for Bucs versus the Cowboys, Curtis. Go.
Listen, man, I'm at work. I'm a little upset because I'm going to be at work for the first half, but I'm going to catch the second half. But I'm kind of excited about this game tonight now.
Okay. Give me your keys to the tell me why you're so excited about this game, and give me the keys to the game for the Bucs to win this game. Alex, I saw you calling. Stand by. We'll get out to you in a moment. Go ahead, Curtis.
Hi, Curtis.
You got to run the ball.
Okay.
We got to run the ball.
Okay.
Harry, how you doing, brother?
My brother, I'm pretty blessed, man. It's so nice to hear your voice.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I got a second job, man, and I've been working 6 days a week. And, I'm just taking care of my family, man,
Good for you, man. Good for you.
But,
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
I like for us to run the ball.
Okay.
And then I like for us to hit. Brady's going to hit some play action.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Everybody was looking at Mike Evans. I'm thinking Godwin's going to have a big game tonight.
Well, and I think that's certainly possible because you have Diggs on him. That's going to be one-on-one coverage. I still think that Diggs will be susceptible to stop and go routes and double moves and stuff like that, because he does take chances. He's trying to get the big play. He can be burnt, but you're exactly right. I think Dallas will try to listen. Dallas is going to try to bracket. Right. Dallas is going to try to bracket.
Who's the linebackers for Dallas tonight?
Well, you got Micah Parsons. The other two, we'll talk about that a little while. But I don't know if you knew this or not, but when Leonard Fournette peeled off 127 yards against Dallas in the very first game of the season, do you realize that was almost 20% of his total consumption of yards gained for the entire year?
Yep.
How about that one?
Here's my prediction, because I got to get back in here and go to work.
Okay.
Well, not prediction, but here's my thing.
Sure.
I think there's a reason they started getting Kyle Rudolph ready. I think we're going to see a little Kyle Rudolph tonight.
Well, you mean Ryan Jensen? Ryan Jensen?
Huh?
Well, Rudolph.
He's talking about Kyle Rudolph. He really
Rudolph's
thinks that
out of
Kyle.
Talking about the tight end.
Rudolph's out of this game.
He's not in the game tonight, unfortunately.
Oh, come on.
It's not, Kyle Rudolph is hurt. He's out of the game. He's knee injury.
Okay,
so.
well then I expect I expect one of our tight ends to have a big game.
Well, Cade Otton's definitely a possibility, especially with the Bucs developing, that confidence, Brady developing that confidence throughout the year. And that happened during the Rams game, and it's happened throughout the year. So the more they develop that confidence, the more you could see Otton getting the ball in those situations. You're exactly right.
But I got to go back in here. I'm gonna give you a quick prediction. I love you guys.
Love you too,
First
brother.
of all, I'm gonna go 27-24.
Okay.
Tampa Bay.
All right.
And I think we're gonna get a game-winning drive tonight.
All right. Love it. There you go. Curtis, appreciate the call, my friend. All right.
Yep.
All right, let's get out to it. Let's continue on with this kind of film session, if you will. Well, tell you what, let's go back out to Alex here. Alex, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek Professional Handicapper Extraordinaire. Your wild card playoff matchup between Bucs versus the Cowboys. Yes. Yes, you ready?
Yes, I am ready. What's up, guys?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's the night we've been waiting for all season.
Yep.
I do want to put a couple points out there. I do think this is going to be a very tight football game.
Okay.
It's going to come down to, do we run the ball? How well does Micah Parsons come out and ball out and play against on their defense? It's also going to come down to consistency. Can we stop the penalties that we've been doing all season long?
Let's be a little more specific, Alex, on what you're talking about with the consistency. I want to hear facts of what you need to see in the keys in this game, not hypotheticals. I want to hear what Alex, who watches football, who knows a lot about this game, I want to know particular players that you need to see consistency from to make this a successful game for the Buccaneers.
I want to see Donovan Smith not giving up the crucial holds that, especially in the red zone, that have killed us all season long. Okay. I want to see Godwin, who is, let's be honest, has fumbled the ball the last 2 games. That's been some big ones. I just want to, and other than that, I mean, it's great to see. Listen, do you guys think that Ryan Jensen will play? I saw he became active today. Do I think he plays a whole game? I don't think so. But we'll see how he starts. How do you guys feel about that subject?
For me, I don't think the Bucs are gonna, activate somebody off the IR for him to play, half of the game. I think they're gonna play him the whole game. They're confident that he's healthy. They've held out this long. This must have been the plan. I mean, Harry, could you see them activating him off the IR and playing him for half of the game? Maybe some rotation, but I just think they're going to.
It's really hard to take this type of player and just put him in and then pull him out, and then actually say, okay, now run back in there and play again, because it takes a series or two just to get your groove back. So yes, do I think they're going to get him in the game? If they do, let me tell you something. This guy had multiple ligaments in his knee that were torn. Am I correct?
That is correct, according to Carmen Vitale.
Now, I want you to think of the only football player in existence. And I'm going to give everybody a hint. He was a running back who had just an ACL tear, and he came back the following year. Who was it?
All day, every day, Adrian Peterson.
And that man, my friend, was a freak of nature. And for this guy to do it for 5 months quicker than AP,
it's amazing.
It'll be superhuman. But you know what? While I got him on the phone.
Yes.
Okay. When you're talking about what do you think? Do you think Tom Brady needs to push the ball downfield, Alex, or do you think Tampa needs to run the football? And there's a reason why I'm asking.
That's a tough question, because I'm going to answer your question the way I think how this game should be played on offense. I think that the Bucs need to play urgency on this offense. I think if Tom Brady does what he does, I think he should continue to throw deep. Do I think that or not deep? Do some play action, do some screens, do your normal. Hey, we got a mindset of let's just say we go 3 and out the first series, right? Well, the guys are down, right? Mentally, you're down. So in that next series, you need to have some urgency. Play with urgency. Me and Peter have talked about this often throughout the season. If the Bucs offense can play with urgency, you can't do that every time at the last minute of the game. But the Bucs offense plays their best football when they play with urgency. So to answer your question, do I think they run the ball? I think they have to run the ball. I don't think you can go a full game with just going deeps and throwing the ball. You got to continue to run the ball. But do I think you should also mix a lot of them deep balls? Mike Evans looked good a couple weeks ago. We saw that. The Bucs played some good football that first half of that Falcons game last week. We saw that firsthand, and we didn't even have Mike Evans playing or guys like that playing.
Yeah.
What were we doing? We were throwing some little screenshots, play action, do a little mix of that with some runs in there and some deep shots. To answer your question, Harry, I think that's how we should play some offense tonight.
Well, that's a really good observation. And as I was talking about earlier, when the Dallas Cowboys met up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buccaneers handed them a pretty good defeat, almost 20% of the yards that were total gain for Leonard Fournette came in that for the entire year came against the Dallas Cowboys. And then for some reason, after the game 3, they just started getting away from it. But I will tell you this, the Cowboys have been very vulnerable to the downfield passes in the recent weeks, but it's mostly been the teams targeting whichever quarterback is aligned across from Trayvon Diggs. If the two matchups between these two teams over the past 2 seasons are any indication, okay, Diggs will shadow Evans in those, and he's did it in those 2 games. Evans has totaled a total of he has totaled 8 catches for 95 yards and has a touchdown. Since Anthony Brown was lost for the season, Dallas has already tried Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, Mackenzie Alexander, Trevon Mullen, and none of them have worked. They're now giving Xavier Rhodes in some work during spots in practice, and he might even be getting the first opportunity tonight. Okay, so that's going to be really good matchups for Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, and Julio Jones.
The Cowboys activated Xavier Rhodes, who is a 3
They had to.
Right, but
they had to.
That's the matchup that you have to look at. If you're going to bracket coverage towards Evans and you think you're going to lock him up, then Godwin and Jones and Gage
they're going to have a big game.
Right.
But in order for Dallas to mitigate all this by rediscovering its pass rush, which has disappeared down the stretch this season after recording multiple sacks in the first 12 games of the season, Dallas has only 2 sackless games in the last 5. Just think about that. This is a team that everybody was talking about as a top 2, top 3 defense. They're not even close this year from what they were.
Right.
Okay. Prior to that, the Cowboys have averaged 4 per game. So here's the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Numbers don't lie, especially when you've played an entire season. I've always said that PFF grades and stats, they're for the birds, throw them out the window. That's usually generally through the first 5 or 6 weeks, but not when you've played an entire season and you have the propensity of doing certain things. Right now, Dallas's defense is a shell of itself from what it was. But I'm going to tell you right now,
I agree.
If Tampa can run the football with any kind of success, that pass protection is going to come up because that's going to force Dallas's front 4, who, by the way, is not getting that proper pass rush, to sit back a little bit on their heels to respect it. And then I promise you, when they bring that 8th in the box, you are going to leave not one, both wide receivers on the left side when Evans is lined up on the right on single coverage, okay? And you put a Scotty Miller in there to peel the defense and Godwin running little button hooks, it's going to be a long night. That's if they run the football. Alex, that was a great call. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, Alex, go ahead. Give me a prediction really quick.
A prediction? Like I said, if in my opinion, it's going to come down to how well can that offensive line hold? Can that offensive line give Tom a little bit more time to throw some deep shots, like Harry was just saying? Harry said it on the dot. If the Bucs can play more of that one-on-one coverage or one-on-one matchups down the field, I mean, we all know what Mike Evans can do with a one-on-one matchup. We know what a Godwin can do with a one-on-one matchup. If everything that what we just said can happen, you run the ball, you're right, Harry, do both and both. Don't stick on the run game the whole game. Don't stick on the passing game the whole game. But if you mix it up, you're going to get that defense off its game. So if we do everything right, the offensive line, most importantly, that offensive line comes back. And again, I'm so happy to see that Ryan Jensen is a football god, came back with an injury like that. if like I said, if the offensive line can hold up, everything can come out. I think the Bucs will win. Yeah, this is a weird score, but 35-24. I think the Bucs will win.
I like it. 35-24. Thanks a lot, Alex. Appreciate the call. All right, my friend.
Unfortunately, Pete, I just don't see Mike Evans having that breakout game tonight. I honestly don't. You're going, you know, when you were showing that video, how you had just man coverage, Dallas, it's the copycat league. You're not going to see single coverage on Mike Evans. Okay, take a look at this. There you go. You're just not going to see that. You're going to have.
Well, here's the key to this. Here's the key that I wanted you to see, and I'm going to play it again. Count on how many seconds he's got here. Ready?
Okay.
Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 3.
Well, I mean,
it's about 3.4 seconds is what that is.
But look at this. But if you're going to, and see, here's the key, and you said it all year long with this offensive line, and I get it. It's Carolina, but they still have a pretty damn good defense. When you're going to give them this much time here, and this is what you got to work on tonight with the Cowboys at the end of the day. The pocket is there. Hopefully Jensen helps that out. I get it. You got Micah Parsons.
Do me a favor. Go back to the play, and I'm going to show you what Carolina was expecting on this. Don't even snap the ball.
Okay.
Go in the beginning. Okay. In the beginning.
All right. Hold on.
You were playing a basic zone, and they were looking for a run play, and then that's when the linebackers started dropping out and realizing the ball wasn't going to go out. First off, this was an extraordinary play that was called. Number one. Number two, this was the complete wrong coverage to try to go ahead and hold Mike Evans.
Right.
Carolina was relegated and thought that they were just going to be smartasses and try to cover Mike Evans single coverage on a guy that was bagging groceries 3 weeks ago. Okay. They're not going to do that in this Dallas game. I promise you, he's not going to be open like this the entire game. Look, I'm generally not wrong. Now, if Dallas doesn't pay attention in what happened against Carolina, expect another big game from Mike Evans, but don't expect over 100 yards from him. Those yards are going to be coming from the other side of the field, from a Godwin and from a Julio Jones, or even a Scotty Miller might get lucky. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, no, I want to read these comments really quick, and then we'll get out to Tom Brady talking exactly what Alex had to say. Urgency here on the Sports Web open phone line. Also, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Also, a new number, which I'm trying to get here, 727-409-7528. It's 727-409-7528. All right, let's go out to these comments. Christopher Cole says, just get the dub. First says Troy Polamalu, no, you weren't. Second, okay. Third, Roger says, Bucs suck like Troy.
Yeah, baby. Sucks.
All right. Roger says, are we doing half and post? Most likely we'll do a half and a post-game show. Can't wait to see the Bucs lose.
That's good enough to suck right there.
Let's go out to Roger, boys. Whooping Bucs ass.
That's good enough to suck right there.
John says Bucs winning this Monday Night Football game. Go Bucs.
Let's go!
Let's go out to Kyra. Says that was hilarious. Thank you very much. Christopher Cole, hope Jensen is good to play. Zach Mitchell says LFG. Let's go out to Troy here. What are your thoughts on Jason Lyon being spotted in a restaurant in California with Derek Carr? Fake news, as always.
This guy sucks.
I wish it wasn't fake news.
It looks like Jensen is going to play. Thanks. Okay. Thank you. Andrew says playoffs.
My boy, Andrew.
Roger says Harry looking pretty and pink. Okay. God, I can't wait.
Snap it, baby.
It's over. Time to push Bulls. And Leftwich on the Skyway Bridge.
This guy sucks.
Let's go
push him on the bridge. I need to clarify. Does he want us to push him on the bridge or off the bridge?
Well, he says on the Skyway Bridge. I don't know what he's saying half the time. I mean,
that's good enough to suck right there.
Terrible comment, like always, Troy. I agree, Troy. Roger says Jensen's back, not going to be a factor. Of course, one of your best offensive linemen who's a Pro Bowler. Why would he be a factor?
That's good enough to suck right there.
Acknowledge me.
Garrett, yeah, acknowledge this.
Acknowledge me.
Hey, my boy Gary. Hang on. I got to give my boy Gary a shout out. Do you understand?
Go ahead. Yes.
Gary, we miss you, brother. We love you, man. I hope everything's going good for you. Seriously. And how about them Eagles, baby? Fly, baby, fly.
Well, and it's set up here. It's going to be Giants and Eagles on, what is it? Is it Saturday night? And then the winner of the Cowboy Bucs game will play the San Francisco 49ers, the late game at 6:30 on Sunday. So we shall see what happens. No show on Sunday. You guys need to tighten up and be professional. You know what? You need to pay me for it.
This guy sucks.
Andrew says it's really a shocker how bad the injury was considered, how long he was out. Absolutely, Andrew. Bucs, much like women's pants, haven't had a pocket all season. This could be huge. Andrew, again, Diggs is overrated. He's like the basketball player that dunks well, but has no jump shot. I agree with you. And like we always talked about with Diggs, he can make those big plays and get those interceptions, but also on those double moves, he can definitely be faked out of his socks, and this team can go down the field.
Who does he remind you of in the National Football League? And you're going to be like, no way. And you're going to be like, oh my God, it does. Who does Trayvon Diggs remind you of? And I've always preached this about a particular safety corner that says, don't ever stop his assertiveness in his game, because that would make him special, and especially during a Super Bowl run. Care to tell me who that was, or do you want me to tell you?
Go ahead, tell me.
Mr. Sean Murphy Bunting.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a very aggressive.
Identical type of players. The difference is Trayvon Diggs has gotten a lot luckier. Gary, thank you so much for tuning into the show, and I will definitely keep that in mind if the Bucs end up ever getting a chance to play the Philadelphia Eagles, because I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have you on for a segment, because I'll tell you what, that guy, let me tell you something. It ain't just about the Eagles. When I tell you his ears to the ground, that man will forget more about football than most people will ever learn.
Love it. Good stuff.
He's that good.
He's that good. All right.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
be on the sports web. Hammy Jamie says, oh, yeah, Bucs funeral today. Go Cowboys. You know what?
That's good enough to suck right there.
Gary says, key to beating the Cowgirls is to run the ball at Micah Parsons. And we'll get out to Micah Parsons in just a little bit with Brian Balldigger.
You know, Gary will also tell you that Micah Parsons' other struggle, and he's absolutely correct. You want to run the ball at Micah, but you want to keep Micah completely eliminated in the game and make him a non-factor. You got to get your tight ends crossing, getting a chip on him, and making him run out in the flats, because this guy couldn't cover a cold if he tried. I'm not kidding you. He couldn't catch a cold. It's that bad.
I agree.
He is a great pass rusher. He's adequate at catching and run blocking, but he is absolutely horrible at covering tight ends and wide receivers on crossing patterns.
And again, going back to the running game, and you talked about Leonard Fournette in the first meeting, 21 carries, 127 yards, and the Bucs overall rushed for 152 rushing yards. If they do that tonight, you would definitely have to feel good about their chances. And again, you look at the run-pass differential. Brady in that game, 18 for 27, 212, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But they dominated time of possession. That would be Tampa Bay against Dallas, and 347 total yards. So if they do that against this Cowboy defense tonight, and again, it's going to be a challenge because they're coming in with 54 sacks, but it can be done if that is your mindset and that is your game plan. And to me, that has to be your mindset at the end of the day. You have to have some urgency. I tell you what,
they haven't been able to get after the quarterback though in these past 5 or 6 games. This team defensively has regressed tremendously. Anybody that's been watching and following this team, like I have, they have regressed a lot. But here's the thing that nobody's talking about, and I keep preaching it. It's the 88% rule. 88% of the time, when you have a road team that's favored by 2.5 points at the time of game, 88% of the time, the home team not only covers, but they actually win the football game. Just go back and look at it. This doesn't spell well for Tampa, okay? I mean, it doesn't bode well for the Dallas Cowboys.
No, it doesn't.
But I'm not going to sit here and stand on a soapbox and tell you how I think Tampa is just supposed to blow this team out. This is going to be a very competitive game, primarily because of the fact that this team is going into the playoffs 1 game under. Let me repeat it. They're a game under 500. Sorry, it's not the same team.
We'll see. I'll tell you right now. Let's get out to Brady here and what he had to say about urgency. Let me put you in the lobby. Stand by here. Again, this is Tom Brady on what this Tampa Bay Buccaneer offense needs to do. Again, the key word, urgency, on the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of urgency naturally this week. Everyone knows what we're playing for. You're playing for a chance to move on. So there's no, we were close, or I was almost there, or 2 more plays. And look at 2 seasons ago when we ended up winning it all. There was a lot of really close plays last year. It comes down to, plays at the end of the game that, they made and we didn't. So, you're going to have to make the plays at the end. And it's tough because there's good teams and there's a little margin of error. And all these teams are well coached. They got good offenses, good defenses. They got a lot of good playmakers. Those are the best teams that are playing right now, and you got to play good if you want to advance.
All right, welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. I mean, he understands the situation coming into this matchup. What is it, 35 wins? He's like 35-12 as a quarterback. You look at the NFC, you have so many young quarterbacks and so much inexperience. And right now, even Dak Prescott, I mean, is he 1-3 in his career? Dak Prescott, is that true? I mean, they haven't won. They have not won a playoff game. A road playoff game for the Cowboys since 1992. So once again, that experience, I don't even think Dak has won a game in the playoffs.
Nope.
So again, Brady talking about the urgency of this offense. Do they come out tonight, in your opinion, instead of going with the huddle? Do you come out in no huddle? Do you kind of try to control the tempo, try to wear that Cowboy defense down right away, catch them off guard so they're not able to substitute?
That's a great question. I mean, I really don't know exactly how they're supposed to come out, but in my own personal opinion, I think they should be a little bit more up tempo tonight, especially on the first drive, and then try to settle things down. Because I looked the past couple of weeks, Bucs have actually gotten good penetration on the first drives. When the first 3 quarters of the season, they weren't able to do anything on their first drive. And then they finally go into a little bit of a tank. But it's not really so much the point of that. It's what are they going to do? What's Tampa's defense? We haven't talked about this. What's Tampa's defense going to be able to do against that high-powered offense? I mean, because Pete, you and I talking about this in the production meeting, and I told everybody to look at the overall numbers, and the Cowboys had one of the best NFL offenses this entire year, despite Prescott missing a third of the year.
Yeah.
They finished 11th in total yards and 4th in points. 4th in points, Pete.
Agree.
Okay. As well as 7th in True Media's version of EPA per play. Narrow it down to just the games after Prescott returned from injury. And get this, Pete. The Cowboys basically matched the Bills for 2nd on EPA per play. Just think about that.
It's amazing. It's amazing numbers, but also here's another number for you. 7 consecutive games with Dak Prescott and an interception. And you look back at the first matchup here with Dak, he had 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Last week, he was 14 for 37, 128 yards versus Washington. He could have threw 3 interceptions in that game and 2 pick sixes. And ever since he's came back to this Cowboy team, he's led the NFL in interceptions. The problem with that, Harry, is that he missed 5 games. So right now, it looks like a quarterback doesn't necessarily have his confidence, and I get it. They're explosive. But for me, in order for them to win, just like the Bucs, they have to be balanced, because if you put the ball in Dak's hands to throw the ball 30 to 40 to 50 times, I think you're playing with fire.
I assure you of this with full confidence. That game last week that you watched with Dallas versus Washington was a fluke. They will not play that type of game this week. Dak Prescott, I assure you, will be very well prepared for this football game. Do you not think that in the back of their mind that go ahead?
Yeah, I want you to save that thought. Let me go out to Steve. Steve, welcome to the Evolution. Steve from San Antonio there in enemy territory as the Bucs are taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire.
Oh, man, I'm nervous. I am nervous, guys.
You're nervous? Why are you nervous for?
It's playoffs. I'm superstitious. Anything can happen.
Okay.
Like, I won't even bet on the game because I don't want to jinx it.
I got you.
I keep hearing Cowboys. I'm nervous just because of the defense. Michael Parsons has been playing good, but, offensive line hasn't been good. So I'm just nervous, man. I'm just listening to y'all, looking for some confidence, looking for some hope.
Well, I mean, Kerry, give him some hope. I mean, I know he's nervous at this point, but Michael Parsons, I mean, that's been a point of emphasis at this point.
This gentleman's a Cowboy fan?
No, he's a Bucs fan, but he's in San Antonio.
Oh, my God. No.
I'm sorry, you're a Bucs fan living in San Antonio.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, man, my brother, you are definitely minority there. Oh my God, because they eat, sleep, breathe, walk, and talk Dallas Cowboy football. That's huge, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wore my Bucks.
You didn't get
why
beat
you
up
wearing
walking down the street.
why are you wearing that? Why are you gonna wear that? I'm like, I'm a Bucks fan, man.
Because you're a
What do you mean,
Bucs
why am I
fan,
wearing
right?
that?
So, I mean, for me, and it goes back to the betting purposes here. What's the line right now? And again, does that 88%?
It favors Tampa Bay on the 88% rule. We're
Okay.
going to talk about it again. Dallas is a 2.5-point road favorite. And 88% of the time, when you're 2.5-point favorite, not 3 or 2, it's got to be 2.5. 88% of the time, the home team not only covers, but they win the football game.
Great point.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So do you feel confident now?
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, Tom. It's he's different in the playoffs.
Tom Brady's also 8-9. Let me rephrase. Let me keep pointing this out to everybody that's calling in. This team is limping into the playoffs a game under 500, guys. Okay?
Well, I'm going to get out to that in a moment because Brady had some comments about that and that 8-9 record.
He can make all the comments he wants. You're a game under 500. You
Right.
didn't do your job this year. Maybe you shouldn't have went out and go hang out with your old boss, Mr. Kraft. Maybe you shouldn't have missed 2 weeks. You shouldn't have missed 2 weeks in the preseason. Maybe you hold off your divorce, until after the season.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't try to go ball on every single chick that walks by. Give me a break.
Easy now. I think there was some distractions off the field. And with that being said, the injury situation didn't help. But the key thing for me is getting back Ryan Jensen. This team is definitely healthy.
That's going to be big.
Right.
I think that's going to be huge.
Correct.
I think, we talking about Donovan Smith. I think also too, all these flags, all this, how he's regressed. There's so much on him.
You know what? I'm not worried about Donovan Smith tonight.
I am. And
I'm not. I promise you, this much, I'm not worried about Donovan Smith. I think Donovan Smith's going to have a hell of a game because I think Tampa's going to run the football, and they're going to do the right thing. They're going to chip on the left side. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys don't remember the playoffs.
That's what I was thinking, having Lenny chip in on the way out.
Well, Lenny knocked Parsons down. Remember that block where it set up?
Oh, he bulldozed him on that one.
For Julio Jones and knocked him right on his ass.
He stoned him on that block.
Yes, and that's the kind of block you have to have in order to set up those deep plays and, of course, take the pressure off of a Donovan Smith, who once again is going to have his hands full tonight with Michael Parsons coming in with 13 sacks. What's your biggest key to the game, Steve, when we got to run?
I think containing Micah and getting the run game, of course.
Okay. And
then the defense just playing with its potential. I mean, with Devin White, David, Winfield, all the corners starting. Vita's back. I mean, you miss a JPP, you miss a Sue, but they haven't done too much from what I've seen this year.
Sue
gone. So, I mean,
let me give you another statistic here, Steve. When they have Vea and they have Akeem Hicks, they are 6-1 this year, and they're only giving up 89 rushing yards. And of course, the Cowboys want to do that. You know how many yards the Cowboys had in the first matchup? 71. Guess who was on the field together? Vea and Akeem Hicks. Now, the difference is if you have one of those guys that are missing, which, knock on wood, it looks like you're going to have Vea and Hicks on the field together. They're 2-8, and they're giving up 120 yards of rushing. So that is the big-time key. You have both of those hosses in the middle. They're going to be able to shut down that running game, which is important because Dallas is going to try to establish it to take the pressure off of Dak Prescott.
Without question.
Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. So
I definitely want to see also too some flashes from Tryon Shoyinka.
Okay.
I want to see some flashes because all these other guys. I feel like he would have some good lanes if he rushes.
Okay.
Because of Vea, because of Hicks. I think he's gonna. I would like to see him show something. He was a first-round pick, even though it was a 32nd pick.
Needs to show a little bit more. They need to continue to have that pressure on the quarterback, which is what they did in the first matchup, especially Devin White. He had 2 sacks. Nelson actually had a sack in there.
Shoyinka's a one-trick pony, Peter. Nothing personal. Hey, man, thanks, Steve. You were so much of a blessing to call, and we appreciate it. Give him the Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to give him the air horn. Appreciate the call. We want to move these calls along tonight. Not saying we don't want to take calls, but we want to make sure we break down the game for you. There is open phone line. 7 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Really quick, let me get out to Brady and his comments about teams playing well, record, everything like that, because you're going to be interested in this. Stand by. Let me put you in the lobby here. This is Brady talking about records and what they really mean in the postseason on the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Very. Yeah, very. It's a very important position. That's, there's a part of that is very nice to, know exactly what you're dealing with. So sometimes it's new and you got to deal. Every position deals with that. I think quarterback, center is naturally unique. I'm sure if you're one safety in the back end and another safety that you play with all year and then he's out, the calls are a little different. The communication's a little different. I'm sure it's the same way, at D-line, you've been playing next to a guy. And so that's the way it is at quarterback too. And that's why it's an ultimate team sport. You got to have a lot of people come through when guys get banged up and injured and knocked out. And hopefully we'll see whoever's ready to go out there that can go out there and play well. I think that it's not, it's the best team. It's not the best team that wins. It's a team that plays the best wins. So it doesn't matter. I was a part of a team that won every game until the Super Bowl, and we didn't play the best that day and we lost. And, you don't end up reaching your goal. So I've been on the other end of it where I was a big underdog my first year starting against the Rams, and we played better than they did that day. But that's all that matters. That's what single elimination is all about. You got to be at your best in that moment. It could come down to a kick, come back to a Hail Mary, could come down to a situational play at the end, a 3rd and 1. So, hopefully all the preparation has got us to this point, and we're, prepared for what we're about to face. A very, very tough, hard-nosed team that plays well. It's been good for a long time, and we're going to have to go play well.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Let's come back here. First, the comments on the center position. You know how important it is. Of course, Ryan Jensen being activated off the IR, talking about that, kind of giving the analogy of safeties. That's how important it is because he is that quarterback of the line. He is going to make those line calls. That's what you've been missing. You've been missing the physicality. What can you expect out of Jensen tonight? We shall see when this game starts. With that being said, he talked about it best. I mean, how about the Jacksonville Jaguars? They would be a case, right? I mean, they barely win the NFC South, and now they're going on to the divisional playoffs. So, yes, you're exactly right. They're 8-9, but this is a totally different season. And this team, if they can get hot at the right time, we all know that Tom Brady and this offense, and especially this team, can be very dangerous.
What else is he supposed to say, man? Seriously. What else is he supposed to say? We just listened to a diatribe about what we're trying to justify about an 8-9 team. I'm sorry, you're still a game under 500. You want to make me convinced that this team is a lot better than what they're showing? Go out here and put an ass whooping on these Dallas Cowboys. It's just as simple as that. Go out there and win a couple of games, and then I'll be thoroughly convinced. But notoriously, teams that have come in under 500 don't have success going into the playoffs. That's a fact.
That's true. That's
a fact. I'm not going to sit here and hypothecate it. Gary, if you're still out there listening, call the phone number on the screen. I have a couple of questions for you. I would really appreciate it.
We got a phone call. Let's go out to Mr. Roger Shue, the tribal troll.
Acknowledge me.
Your thoughts on this Bucs game tonight? Bucs versus the Cowboys. Go ahead, my friend.
Acknowledge me. The only game I missed on all weekend was the Giants game, and I'm going to continue my streak tonight. Boys win.
All right, why? Why did the boys win?
Yeah, tell us.
America's team, baby. And
America's team.
They haven't been America's team. They haven't won a playoff since 1992 on the road with Troy Aikman. What are you talking about, man? Come on, America's team. Give me something. Give me some substance here, Roger.
Substance is this is the year, baby.
This is the year. Okay. All right. That's it. That's all you got?
That's all I need.
All right. This is what Brady says. Baby. This is what Brady says.
That's good enough to suck right there.
All right. Let's move
Harry,
on.
by
Roger.
the way,
yes.
Harry, by the way, that shirt, you're looking fresh, kid.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Real men can wear pink, right, Gary?
Absolutely.
That's it. Good stuff there, Roger. Appreciate the call. Let me get out to Mr. Gary here. Gary, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire. Go.
Appreciate the call.
Pete, Harry,
yes.
This is Gary.
What's going on? How you doing, buddy?
I am doing well. Harry requested me to call in.
Absolutely. Gary, I got a couple of questions for you. You're an NFC East kind of guy. And Gary, for ladies and gentlemen, people that don't know him, he is a savant when it comes to football. He's not only coaching in football, he follows football. He eats, sleeps, talks football. Gary, you still got that football sitting in your trunk of your car?
Football helmet, shoulder pads.
Yep. I'm telling you. What are the keys in tonight's game? You face this team twice a year being a Philadelphia Eagle fan. What if you notice, and take your personal feelings aside about the Dallas Cowboys, defensively, where do you think is going to be the biggest problem for the Bucs facing for this Dallas defense?
Defensively, they have to be able to stop the run at first.
Okay.
You make them one-dimensional. So you got Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. You got to contain those guys. Dallas likes to run a lot of traps, outside zones. That's where the game's going to be won or losses, depending on how they can run the ball.
I think he's exactly right. And again, it comes down to Dak Prescott and the confidence. I mean, how much confidence, if you're a Cowboy fan watching this quarterback play right now, do you have in him? Again, 7 consecutive games with an interception. He could have threw 2 or 3 pick sixes last week. He doesn't look like the same player. And again, in order to use his effectiveness the best way, you have to become balanced. We talk about it during the playoffs. The teams that are balanced, that are able to run the ball, take the pressure off their quarterback, and play defense and not turn over the ball can usually win. Do you feel like that has to be the game plan for this team going forward if they want to win any games in the playoffs?
As far as the Cowboys go, I mean, if Dak's going to throw the ball 40 times tonight, they lose.
They lose.
Yep, there's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just not Dak. It has something to do with that star on your helmet come January and playoff time.
Yep.
They're not okay. The culture is not there. Those guys, they are not built for the playoffs.
And I've noticed that. Gary, let me ask you a question. This game that everybody watched, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of it, but when Dallas was playing Washington in the last game of the season, was this a situation that Dallas has really regressed, or do you think they were just basically just going through the motions?
Well, if they were going through the motions, that is a poor coaching job, because at that point in time, okay, nothing was decided. The Cowboys still had a chance to win the NFC East. They had an outside chance of being the number 1 seed. So I put that on. If they weren't ready, that has everything to do with coaching.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. Now, the last question I had for you, and if you have any for us, that's fantastic. On Dallas's defense, what do the Buccaneers offense have to do to have success against that? Because my personal opinion is, and I know you always say you want to run right at, Micah Parsons. I've noticed that Micah Parsons struggles mightily in pass protection, especially when he's forced to cover a tight end. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So when I mean go at him, run the screen at him. Okay. So now Micah Parsons is an outside linebacker. Yes, he is asked sometimes to be in pass coverage. Okay. So obviously that's not going to be his strength. So if you can get him into pass coverage, okay, possibly with even running a wheel route with a back coming out of the backfield or something, that's going to be an advantage for the Buccaneers. I mean, now I know Fournette hasn't always been that kind of back, but seems like he's catching a lot more balls lately than I have seen him in the past. So you guys have your pulse on what he's doing, catching the ball out of the backfield, but that's another key, is get him out of the backfield, get him active in pass situations.
Yeah, well, you're right too, Gary.
Lenny's time, because you remember the postseason, that's when he usually steps up, and they're going to need that. They're going to need that balance. They're going to not only need Leonard Fournette, but also Rashard White. They're going to need that running game. And again, I feel better about this team when they're balanced, which they have not been. When Brady's setting a record for pass attempts and completions, I mean, that is not where you want to go, especially versus this Cowboy defense, which once again coming in has 54 sacks. They have 4 players with 6 sacks apiece. So they're very talented. It's not just Parsons. It's other guys, Torrance Armstrong in the middle. So the Bucs offensive line tonight, that unit has definitely a challenge in front of them.
Prediction in tonight's game, Gary, before you go. What do you think the score is going to be? Who do you like?
I really think that the Bucs can hang a lot of points on the board.
Wow.
I definitely could see this as a over bet for sure. I don't know, Harry, what the line is for the over, but I would definitely steer towards the over.
It's 45, Gary, to be exact. That's 45.
Yeah, I could see the Bucs putting up 30 points. I mean, what did Washington put up on the Cowboys last year?
A lot.
Right, with a rookie quarterback.
Who was the quarterback?
Right, Sam Howell out of North Carolina. Yeah.
Thurston Howell, he was throwing the ball to Skipper and Gilligan.
Right.
I mean,
Skipper and Gilligan. Oh, I love Gary.
That is great. Love it. Good.
And you know what? That is an outside objective opinion from someone that is not a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. And Gary, you've known me for years, and I don't know if you ever knew this, but whenever you have a road favorite, that's exactly 2.5-point favorites. 88% of the time, the home team actually not only covers the bet, but they actually win the game. How about that?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good trend and stat right there.
Yep.
Agree. All right, Gary.
That's some good stuff. Well, I appreciate it, guys, and thanks for having me on. And go Bucs! I'd love to see them.
Love it. Let me go ahead and give you the Tom Brady. Let's go! Appreciate it, Gary. Thanks a lot. Definitely call in on the post-game show. We'll have a halftime edition. I tell you what, let's get out to Brian Baldinger here. His breakdown of Micah Parsons. Stand by. Let me get out to that. And this is the challenge that this offensive line is going to have tonight with Micah Parsons. Of course, 13 sacks, 2 sacks in the week 1 matchup. Here we go, Baldy.
There really is no one like Micah Parsons in this league. I don't care what his stats say. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Just watch the guy move. Like he wins right here. Now, I don't know. You tell me what that is. Normally, some yellow flag should come out. But now, Sam Howell gets chased, and here comes Dorrance Armstrong, and he gets the sack. But Micah made the play. In fact, he's there at the play, right? Like he does, and he's still trying to strip the ball. Like nobody can do what Micah Parsons can do. Watch how quickly he wins. Like there he is. Like that's a win. I don't care how quickly the quarterback gets rid of the ball. Like nobody can slide through a hole. He's like a slug. He can just slide through any single hole, right? Full speed. Now, Howell's got to make a decision. All right. Somebody else gets a sack, Sam Williams gets a sack, whatever. Mike is always there, though. Like nobody moves like this. Like here he goes. This is only Sam Howell's only interception. But why? Watch the pressure right here. The left tackle is being just pushed right into the lap of Sam Howell. He can't step into the throw because Mike is there, and there's Malik Hooker with the interception. Okay. Like every one of these plays is because of this guy. Like, he makes this tight end come across the formation here. He just makes him completely whiff. Like, he doesn't even take the block on. He just makes it whiff. Now, here he comes. What does Sam Howell do? He sees Micah coming. He feels it. Even though the tight end's on him right here, I don't know. I'm not sure what the tight ends are doing there, but that's not a normal reaction, all right, to guys that are blocking you. It's usually a reaction to somebody just grabbing you. All right, but down goes Odigizua, takes him down. And you watch this right here, and you go, okay, here he is outside. Watch how quickly he wins. Like, he's there. Like, he's right. He wins just that fast. Like, nobody can really do that in this whole league. Only Micah can. And where's that ball go? That ball goes, let's see, who catches this ball? Anybody? All right, can we get a new ball, please? Like, Mike is just as big a difference maker is this in this entire industry. The way they moves.
All right, welcome back to the Evolution Sports Talk Television. And that's what's important tonight with Parsons. If you're going to put Donovan Smith on an island, that's what you're going to have to deal with. So for me, you've got to chip Lenny. You've got to chip Rashard White, especially if you're going pass protection. And then the run game also. If you're going to run towards them, and force him to make the play, in my opinion.
Gary said it best. I know you're going to have to wrap it up, but Gary said it best.
Yeah.
You got to run the ball at him. You got to pass at him. You got to keep this guy other than running into the backfield, because right now he's the best in the National Football League. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a year 2 Khalil Mack. That's how good this guy is, except Khalil Mack was a little bit stronger, in my opinion.
I agree. I'll tell you right now, let's go out to Brady and his thoughts on balance for this team on the evolution of sports talk television. Here we go.
Well, I think we're just, every week trying to figure out different ways to, I've always said it just comes down to scoring points and how do you put yourself in a position to score points. So if you've got to run it, great. I've been a part of a lot of those games. If you need to throw it a lot, because that's what the situation calls for. It's for one reason or another, it's just the way the year went. But, you got to stay balanced and you got to run the ball well. I thought one thing we did really well against the first time we played was we ran the ball really well. And that alleviated a lot of pressure from the passing game. And I think the teams that are playing well now do run the ball pretty well. And, we're going to have to do it. But they got some good players. They got some very athletic linebackers, obviously a very good D-line. So it's tough. It's going to be a big challenge.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of sports talk television here. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, Mr. Harry the Greek. I mean, again, saying it and doing it are two different things, and I feel like getting Jensen back, being healthy there, and having that mindset, and a lot of people are joking around about this. Maybe the Bucs are kind of holding back, just waiting, right? They're just waiting for that proper time, and this is the proper time for them to go balanced and unveil this offense, which has been stagnant for the majority of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, it's 5 minutes after 8. The game's going to be starting here real soon. Let me go ahead and give a couple of picks out. Let people make their own educated decisions on how they're going to want to make this, okay? Right now, again, the line hasn't changed. Dallas is still a 2.5-point favorite 88% of the times. When you're 2.5-point road favorite, the home team not only covers it, they win. So if you believe in the statistics and you don't like the Buck trends, then you want to bet the Buccaneers on the money line because you're going to get plus 130. The over and under right now is 45. We had Gary Ivick on the phone. He was calling in. If you believe that these teams are going to score some points tonight, bet the over. I actually kind of like that a lot. So the Greek's going to give you bet the over in this game. I'm going to say to stay away from this point spread unless you believe in the 88% rule, then you can take Tampa. But here's a good one for you. You can take Tampa in the first half, getting a point, and play over 22.5. I think there's going to be some points being scored here. So here's a small parlay. Take Tampa plus the 1 and over 22.5. And here's a proposition bet for you.
Okay.
Over or under 10 points scored for the Buccaneers in the first half, Pete?
I definitely think over.
There you go. So why don't you go ahead and take all three of those? Bet the over 10 points. You're going to have to lay a little bit of juice, though, because you're going to have to lay 120 to do it.
I definitely want to run through some of these comments here. Interesting. Roger Shoe says 31-17 boys. Janet Scialis, both head coaches tonight are Scorpios, born in 1963. Both quarterbacks are Leos. So interesting there. We're going to have her on because she does horoscopes and things that apply to sports. Definitely interesting. See you at half. Absolutely. Christopher Cole. I've been hyped ever since I got up this morning. Chuck says the Greek is in the house. Jeff, Bengal fan, congratulations to you. Good luck to the Bucs tonight. Thank you, sir. Chuck, again, I'm in it for Tampa.
What's up, Chucky?
Over, says Chuck and Troy Polamalu. Bucs suck last game tonight. Let those tears roll, and this is what you get for
I'm going off the suck right there.
And this is what you get for
this
that.
Guy sucks.
And this is also what you
Oh
get.
my God, who the hell cares?
All right, final prediction, my friend Harry the Greek here. Bucs versus the Cowboys tonight at Raymond James Stadium. Who wins and why?
Not going to give you a winner in this game. Bet the over.
All right, bet the over. I will say Tampa Bay 23-17. They are the most healthy. They still have their problems. The Cowboys are going to adjust, but I still think Dak in this offense is a no-go. CeeDee Lamb didn't show up in the first game. Why do I think he's going to show up this game? Once again, the Bucs are healthy in that back end. 23-17 Tampa Bay for the great Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Enjoy the game.
Bye.